Randall here with Credit Suite, and today we're going to be diving into how to get online small business loans. Look, if you're looking to get money for your business, the reality is there's a lot of lenders out there, whether it be Blue Vine or Balboa or Foundation or Kabbage. The problem is these guys don't say what they really do on their website. It's hard to tell that, for example, with OnDeck, you need consistent revenue to get approved, while other ones, you need things like good credit to get approved. So that's exactly what we're going to be diving into.
San Diego. Hey, Jazzy D, thanks for coming in. I was at 2 conferences in San Diego, so I missed you all last week, but I got a lot of great information, and hopefully a lot of you got a chance to go out there as well to traffic and conversion and social media marketing world. If you missed those conferences, you should look at going into either one or both of them next year. Fantastic conferences. Traffic and conversion happens in February. I go every year. First year of social media marketing world, loved it too. A lot of cool stuff. So if you haven't gone, go out there, and I'll run into you next year at San Diego. So to the topic at hand, we have a lot of
over today. If you're looking for money for your business, this is probably going to be one of the most revealing periscopes we've ever done, because as you can see, we have a full whiteboard of content to go through. So the purpose here is that we're going to look through all these different lenders that you're going to find online, and we're going to break down what these guys really do. We're even going to actually come in and compare them to each other. And here's why I decided to do this, because it's astonishing that if you go into sites like OnDeck, that they don't even tell you the kind of loans they do. They don't even tell you that you need revenue to qualify. So you're not going to know unless you engage with them, but a lot of you might not want to engage with them without knowing they can help you. So by looking at Lendio and Lending Club and OnDeck and AltCabbage and some of the most popular online lenders, we've dug in and decoded exactly what they do, exactly what their terms are, what their fees are, how much they lend, what their qualifications are, so you'll know if it makes sense to go to PayPal or go to Kabbage or go to both. So that's really the purpose of today. We're going to dive in and decode every one of these. We're going to compare them against each other to give you a good idea of who might be able to help you and who to avoid. So, business financing. What we're ultimately talking about here is working capital. A lot of these options are going to work if you have bad credit. A lot of them will even work for you with startups, but a lot of them won't work with you on one of those as well. So, for example, even though OnDeck won't say this on their website, they're not the best place, even if you have good credit, to get financing, because they don't care about credit. What they mostly care about is revenue. So we're going to talk about options that work good for you if you're a startup phase. We're going to talk about options that work good for you even if you have credit issues. So when we're talking about online small business loans, there's a couple things you basically want to know. One, you need to figure out about the amount that you're looking to get lent. And second, you need to figure out the financing type. And we're going to talk a lot about this here. Do you want something called invoice factoring, a line of credit, or what's referred to as an LOC, a term loan, an MCA, which is a merchant cash advance? What do these terms mean, and which loan works better for you? Well, for example, invoice factoring only works if you have invoices. Line of credits typically only work if you have better credit and consistent revenue. Term loans only work if you're looking for longer term financing. And Abedin 2133, first day on Periscope. Thanks for coming and sharing it with us. Appreciate that. So a lot of things. Considerations to qualify or not to qualify. Nora Love, hello. Have you guys ever gotten millions for one organization to build? We have, yes. And in a lot of cases, and that's a great question, when you ask...
I'm going to do a webinar here soon on where people screw up getting business loans. And that's where people screw up. What happens is when you're looking for higher amounts of money, most people make the mistake of trying to look at one source. And that's not the better way to go. There's plenty of private investors that will lend you millions. SBA will too. But the scrutiny you'll face to get approved and actually close the deal could take 6 to 12 months to do. But if you piece together loans like 200 grand through one lender, 500 through another source, it's much easier to get to that level. So that's what we found. We help many customers get to millions, and in every case, it's done by combining multiple of these type of programs to get them the most amount of money, which is why, because again, what you're going to want to do in a lot of cases is combine Balboa with Can and Bond Street with Kabbage to be able to get you the most amount of money. So, considerations, okay, whether you'll get approved or not depends on things like time in business, your FICO score, okay, do you want a personal guarantee or not? Your yearly annual revenue or your annual revenue, your monthly revenue. Do you have collateral? Okay. These are the main factors that are going to tie in the difference between qualifications between a foundation and a Can Capital. So those are the main things they're going to look at. Some don't care about time in business. Some don't care about FICO. Others care about either or. So again, this is why it's important to know this.
So again, there's a lot of places that do some pretty cool side-by-side comparisons that are worth checking out as well. NerdWallet's fantastic for this. Nav is getting pretty good as well. Credit Karma. So these sites let you basically compare a lot of sources side by side. So if you're narrowing it down to a couple to choose from, they can help you choose which one may work. Boxtruck, welcome, man. How many no PG credit cards are there? Too many to count. I mean, there's probably as many no PG as there are PG, so you'd be talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of credit cards that are out there that you can get without a personal guarantee. Almost every major retailer offers them, and also Visa, MasterCard, Amex, most banks also offer exactly the same thing. They offer a PG and a no PG account. So let's dive into the first one, Balboa Capital. So they're offering about loans up to $250,000. So somebody just asked about millions in financing. They're not going to be the one to get that in one source. They're shorter term loans, 3 to 24 months, but they don't need any kind of collateral to get approved. But you can't get it as a startup. You need to be in business at least 1 year, and you need to have $300,000 in annual revenue. Now, this is a high requirement. A lot of the lenders in the same space don't have that high requirement. We're going to talk about a lot of them that don't have as high of a annual revenue requirement as 300. They are going to look at your FICO, but their requirements aren't really stringent on what your FICO must be. And they also have 3 to 18 months terms on other kind of programs as well if you only have $10,000 a month in revenue. So they've got a couple different, now they don't promote what their fees are, okay, but there's 2 different programs they have. A lower risk or a preferred tier where you make $300,000 a year, and another one where you make $10,000 a month or $120,000 a year. The one with more revenue gives you bigger term, up to 24 months, whereas if you only have $10,000 a month in revenue, then they only go to 18 months. Here's the kicker. If you don't have at least $10,000 a month in revenue, Balboa cannot help you. Mark them off your list. They are not going to work for you if you are a startup business. And whoever's going crazy on the loves, I love it. I thank you so much. Bluevine. One of my personal new favorite lenders that we see out there, because they do a couple types of things, they do it really well. One is what's called invoice factoring. And what this does is it means other people owe you money through invoices. It's also called account receivable financing. And they also do lines of credit. That's what LOC is. So they do both. Now, both of these, they sync with your software. So this is what we call artificial intelligence in lending. And this is the new form of lending that's out there. What they're doing is they're actually plugging right into your accounting software if you have invoices, or if you have revenue going through your bank account, they plug into your banking software. They go right into your banking account to get you a line of credit. So let's take a look at this. Now, if you're looking about invoice factoring, it has to be B to business, B to B, business to business, or business to government. Your invoices can't come from a consumer for them to approve you. They do not do medical or healthcare industries. This is kind of a weird niche industry when it comes to account receivable. And Bronx Superman, man, thanks for spending your first day on Periscope with us. So if you're in the healthcare industry, Bluevine is not the option for you. If you have receivables from another business or the government, oh, we have a Super Hearts. Whoa, Charlize, look at you coming in with the Super Hearts. That's awesome. I've only seen a few people with those. I love those. So again, if you have receivables, they're a good place to consider unless your receivables are medical. Now, when it comes to the line of credit, you've got to come in, or actually with the receivables, you've got to have $10,000 a month in revenue, so they don't do startups. Guys, a lot of people out there will help you do invoice factoring even if you're not a startup, but they have a $10,000 monthly requirement, and they're only going to accept invoices over $500. So if you have a bunch of small invoices that people owe you under $500, then they are not going to be the best option for you. Okay, so they'll usually give you about a year to pay back the money. Okay, so you'll have a year to pay back. They'll give you a line of credit, but they'll give you 13 weeks is how far out your receivables can be. So let's talk a little bit about receivable financing. What receivable financing has is somebody owes you money, and they usually slow pay you. Hey, welcome, Callie7432. Welcome, thanks for coming in. So they owe you money and they slow pay. They pay you over months. Well, instead of you waiting months to get paid, Bluevine advances you most of that money next day so you don't have to wait to get paid. Is that 10,000 bank statement net or gross? It's gross. So whenever we see any option with the $10,000 a month requirement, which is most of them, Super Hearts from Christine. I have 2 Super Harders in here. That's awesome. Thank you, Christine. So when you have $10,000 a month in revenue, that's deposits in your bank account. Now what's important to note is some sources do merchant cash advance instead of revenue lending. The difference here is merchant cash advance only looks at Visa and MasterCard deposits, while places like Balboa and Bluevine look at total deposits, not just Visa, MasterCard. Very important to note. Thank you guys both for going crazy on the Super Hearts and the loves. I appreciate it. Credit by Creations. Thanks for coming in. Okay, so payment terms will go over 13 weeks, which means if somebody takes 13 weeks or 3 months to pay you, then you can get it advanced to you right away. You can get up to 90% of those receivables advanced. So somebody owes you 100 grand. They'll give you 90,000 the next day. The other 10,000 comes when the person actually pays the invoice. That's how it actually works. And you can get it delivered in about 1 to 2 days or pay them a $15 wire fee to get it done sooner. And I've got a 530 FICO score. Second program, they have 2 programs here. Factoring, which we just talked about. Hey, thanks, Credit by Creations. I appreciate you giving everybody a shout out. They also have a line of credit. Guys, this is one of my favorite line of credits that I found out in the space, because you only need about a 600 to a 620 FICO score to get approved. Most lines of credit require good credit for you to actually be able to get approved. But with Bluevine, you only need about a 600 to a 620 credit score to actually get approved. They also do credit lines up to 100 or 150,000. We've now seen them reach out to. They give you 1 year, 12 months to pay it back, and your interest rate's about 4.8%. So a really low interest rate credit line with really low FICO requirements, and they just basically want you to come in and have at least $10,000 a month in revenue. So, because you need good credit. With Bluevine, with even a 600, 620, you can get up to 150,000 now with a rate under 5%, which is very, very, very strong. So Bluevine, good source for a line of credit if you've got a 600 plus FICO and 10,000 a month revenue, or somebody owes you money through factoring or financing. Balboa works only with loans that are short-term loans up to about 18 months if you have 10,000 a month in revenue. Bond Street. So Bond Street does what are called term loans, which are usually longer term loans. They'll do 10,000 up to $1 million. Somebody asked about $1 million financing. Bond Street will do it. 1 to 3 year terms that they'll offer you, and you can get approved in about 3 days. Now, they will do a soft credit pull. I love this, because a lot of these lenders we're going to talk about that do this, like Balboa, they do a hard inquiry on your credit report. They do a soft pull. Why that matters is because inquiries in our world really, really, really matter. Lenders that will do unsecured financing, which we're going to talk about here in a few minutes, they really look at inquiries. So a lender that will get you approved with a soft pull is always my preferred choice over one that does a hard pull. Just saying. So FICO score of 640 or higher. This is high. A lot of sources that lend in this space don't have that kind of requirement. It's even easier to get approved with Balboa than it is with Bond Street, because of this 640 is what's most likely needed. And they want you to be in business 2 years and 200,000 a month in revenue. That's one of the highest requirements that we've seen so far. Christine says, got a credit over 640. Good job, man. You're rocking it. So Christine, you need to look at Bluevine. We've talked before. And I'm going to show you another one that I like a lot too. But Bluevine's a great source for you with the scores over 600. So Bond Street, you've got to be more of an established business. 3 to 5% origination fee, 8 to 25% rates. What you need to know about Bond Street says, they'll go higher loan amounts than most sources will. Guys, almost everybody in the street, and we call this revenue lending, that Bond Street and Balboa are in, almost all of them only go to 500,000. Bond Street goes to 1 million. But you got to have better credit, 640 plus. You got to have longer time in business, which more than likely, if you're going to get $1 million, you've been doing some major revenue to get that in 2 years. And you got to have a lot more revenue. So this is not for the faint of heart. This is not where you go as a newer business to get approved. Can Capital, they do term loans and revenue lending and merchant cash advances. Now, they offer automatic fixed payments, auto withdrawals. They all do auto withdrawals. They pull the money right out of your bank account. That's what they're looking for approval. So when we're looking at bank accounts for approval, Balboa, Bond Street, Bluevine, although Bluevine won't ask you for bank statements, they do an automatic approval. What they're looking for is good bank account management. All of this is such BS. Gathered funds and capitalize in it. Oh, user 116547. Please give us your genius advice and we'll see if you're a troll or have some kind of legitimacy to what you're saying. But so please share your knowledge with us. Let's see if you're a troll like I think you are. I missed somebody else's comment too, so if you want to type it in, I'll make sure it's addressed. So Can Capital, so you can get $25,000 to $150,000 and get about 6 to 18 month term. Again, short-term financing. We've seen financing that goes up to 3 years. We've seen financing that goes to 2 years. This financing is you're only looking at with Can Capital up to 18 months, which is about a year and a half. Okay, you don't need collateral, and you can get approved for about $25,000 to $150,000 per location. Smaller loans per location than what you'll see with a lot of them. So again, if you want bigger loans, Bond Street's better. If you're more established, if you're newer, then Can Capital is probably a good place for you to go. Oh man, did pass the inspection? All right, well, Christine, well, that's good. I'm glad you had an inspection done. That's still a good amount. Yes, it is. $150,000 is not a low amount. But here's what I like about this. They go to 150, they go to $1 million. You can see the difference in specialization between them, which is why we're doing this. You can see that if you're a newer business or a business doing 100, 200, 300,000 a year in revenue, Can is much better for you than Bond Street. Bond Street's really for a more well-established business that we've been able to determine so far. Fundation, I like Fundation because Fundation, like Lendio, specialize in a bunch of different lending programs, so you have a bunch of options in one place. Now, they do term loans and line of credit. Okay, you can get up to about $500,000. That's very typical with people that do the shorter term loans. 1 to 4 year terms. So far, guys, this is the longest term we've seen, with Bond Street's 3 years being second. So we like lower pay. We like this. Let me tell you why. Term matters more than rate. When it comes to lower payment, a longer term will get you a lower payment over a lower rate. So 4 years is a great term, but remember, it's based on risk. Time in business, FICO score, bank account management, that's going to determine where you fall in this range of 1 to 4 years. I also love this. You can pay them twice monthly. Instead of daily or weekly withdrawals like almost all of them have, Balboa, Bond Street, Can, they will let you pay back only 2 times monthly, so more like a regular loan. No collateral, 1 year time in business. Very typical for this kind of loan. We've seen some that are crazy, and then we've seen some that are typical. This is very typical, 1 year. They want you to have 3 employees. That is a weird requirement with this kind of program, but if you have more than 3 employees, it makes sense. $100,000 or more in yearly revenue, they're going to want good personal credit, although they don't classify exactly what that is. This is easier than daily withdrawal. It is when they're doing biweekly payments. So they will charge, 8 to 29% rates. Very good. Most of these lenders can go up to 50%. So they're lower risk, lower rates. Okay, they are going to charge you a 5% origination fee. Now, here's another cool thing. They do lines of credit as well of $20,000 to $100,000 as well. So you can get a loan, you can get a line of credit with a monthly payments. So instead of daily or weekly payments, okay, you could do balance transfers. You don't need collateral. Okay, they're going to attach a UCC filing, which just notifies lenders that you have an outstanding lien. No big deal. For their line of credit, they're going to want 1 year time in business and 3 employees and $100,000 in revenue, same as their other one that we've seen as well. Okay, and a bunch of other stuff. It's the same as every lender. We don't even care about that. So Fundation, pretty good for term loans. Pretty good for the shorter term, the merchant cash advance type loans and lines of credit, something to consider. Here's my favorite. This is my favorite up and coming lender. So many of our clients get approved here, but they can't get approved anywhere else. And Nora says, would they need to put up money before obtaining a loan to get land? No. They're not going to. You just need to have consistent revenue. So what they're looking for is, do you have good revenue and are you managing that bank account, that money responsibly? Here's the problem. If you're going to buy land, this might not be the way to go. The terms are too short. This kind of funding that Fundation offers here, that that Bond Street offers, that Balboa offers, this is more for, you're going to use the money and invest it to make a return and use your return to pay the money. To get financing over 1 to 4 years that's not going to get you some kind of return is going to be pretty tough to do. So I wouldn't consider that kind of loan for land. I would consider an SBA loan or an actual construction type loan, which is going to be better than that because the terms are so short. My favorite, they, like Bluevine, do artificial intelligence. So they do invoice factoring and line of credit, just like Bluevine, and they'll go up to 85% invoice factoring. They plug into your accounting software just like Bluevine. Christine says, I had a company ask for another down payment on our rig we're leasing plus pay a loan origination fee. Yes, that's why it's so important that you know these fees. They go 4.6%, pretty much like Bluevine. Okay, they will also accept payments weekly as well. Okay, and they will actually, here's what you need to know about them. They'll do invoice factoring. They tie right into your accounting software for an immediate approval. They also offer a line of credit, which is my favorite with them. They'll typically give you less than $30,000. Then if you give them tax returns, they'll give you $30,000 to $100,000. So we actually have a credit line with them, and it works a lot really well. You guys offer assistance with credit, so we might have some loans that can help you, but Nora, we are not your source for land. Land is one of the hardest things to be able to get financing on, just so you know. But we can help you with construction and commercial financing, not the best source for you if you're looking for land. So they do $30,000 to $100,000. So we got approved for like $6,000. We sent them tax returns. They gave us $30,000. Then they bumped us up recently to $100,000. Here's what I love about them. There's absolutely no FICO needed. They do not pull personal credit. This is one of the only sources I've ever seen that will give you a credit line. No. This is the only source I've ever seen that will give you a credit line up to $100,000 with no credit pull. And if you go to creditsuite.com, creditsuite.com/funbox, you'll find a special link. You can answer some questions with them, get an immediate approval. If you have revenue, guys, and you've been in business 3 to 6 months and you manage your bank account responsibly, you don't overdraw the bank account, go to creditsuite.com/funbox. Check it out. Because we see a lot of people approved. You'll probably get approved for smaller amounts to begin with. If you give your tax returns, you'll get higher. But there's no credit pull, so heck, you got nothing to lose. They plug right into your accounting software and give you an approval. This is my favorite new lender that's out there. I like them, and I like Bluevine, but I like them better than Bluevine because there's no FICO needed. Bluevine wants you to have about a 600 or a 620. Christine, I think I told you about them, and you should go apply to Funbox if you haven't already. creditsuite.com/Funbox. Fundera. Term loans, lines of credit, invoice factoring, 3 kind of loans we've already talked about so far, all from one lender. Okay, they're term loans. They want you to be in business 1 year, 600 FICO, 90,000 in annual revenue. Okay, they also offer term loans of 25 to 500,000, 5-year terms. So Fundera, we're looking at now the longest term that we've actually seen. Lower interest rate. Okay, usually this can go up to 40, 50%, which means they deal with a little bit lower risk. Okay, and they also do lines of credit. You got to be in business 6 months to 6 months. You can get term loans up to 5 years, but you've got to have $10,000 a month in revenue to qualify. And you're saying, yeah, on your taxes, it's good. Well, I'm telling you, this would be good for you to go through when you get the taxes done. They also do invoice factoring if you've been in business 6 months. I like this, right? So far, the invoice factoring we've looked at requires a business in being in business a year, only 6 months time in business, and $50,000 in annual revenue. So one of the easier ones to qualify for so far. And again, they'll go up to 90% of the invoice amount. So they do term loans. They do lines of credit. The requirements are much easier than some of the sources we've looked at. Really good source to inquire with. Funding Circle. Peer-to-peer lending is what they call this, 25 to 500,000. Okay, they'll typically get you approved in 24 hours and funded about 5 days. They do term loans as well, rates of about 5% or higher, about 5-year term loans. They require better credit to get approved. They're not a starter kind of lender. If you don't have better credit, they're probably not the one to focus on. Kabbage, another one of my personal favorites. Simple lines of credit, like Funbox. Pretty simple to get approved with these guys. $2,000 to $150,000 a month, and you qualify in only 10 minutes because Kabbage, Funbox, Bluevine are all using artificial intelligence that plugs into your accounting software or bank account, which is why they can do your approvals so fast here. 6 months time in business, and again, a minimum revenue is $2,000 a month. And the loan amount, the smallest loan they'll do is $10,000. So, and they have another option too. 1 year. That's a 6 months loan, but you've got to be in business 1 year. But you only need $50,000 in annual revenue. That's one of the lowest requirements that we've seen here, or about $4,200 a month over the last 3 months. And again, they're artificial intelligence. They plug right into your bank account and merchant account. So far, Bluevine, Fundbox, Kabbage are artificial intelligence, pretty fast approvals, no credit check. Credit's not really a big factor. 600 score. Okay, Balboa, Bond Street, Can Capital. These guys are all more of your revenue lending, consistent revenue type lenders. Fundation has a few options, but it's more difficult to qualify for than Bluevine, Fundbox, and what we've seen with Fundera. Funding Circle, tougher to qualify for. Kabbage, one of the easier ones to qualify for. LendCred. This is for startups, guys. So far, none of the options we've looked at really work for startups. You need about 6 months in business. LendCred does. They do unsecured business credit lines where you can get approved for about $100,000 with them. We have some sources that go up to $150,000 with the same program. The 0% rate for 6 to 18 months. They're going to want about a 680 plus FICO, but they don't care about time in business. They don't care about collateral, and they don't care about revenue. All they care about is good credit. You have a 680 FICO or a guarantor that does, this is the ticket as a startup. Again, get with us, and I'll give you our contact info, because what happens is we've got some better sources for unsecured than them, 877-600-2487. But if you're a startup, this is the kind of funding program you want to go with versus what these other guys offer, which is lines of credit, term loans, and revenue lending. All this other financing is based on revenue. This one's based on credit. Lending Club. Term loans of $500,000 to $300,000, 1 to 5 year loan terms. Longer are the loan terms that we've seen. Okay, you need a 620 FICO, but you've got to be in business 2 years. That's pretty long for these kind of lenders. But if you've got that 2 year in business and pretty decent credit, Lending Club is pretty good. We like them. They offer a lot of different kind of loans. We've been placing a lot of loans with Lendio lately, and they've done a really good job for us. We're very, very happy with the experience we've had. Lines of credit and term loans. Line of credit, they'll go up to $500,000 over 2 year payback. Okay. Term loans, they'll go up to $2 million on 1 to 5 year loan terms. So Lendio offers SBA, term loans, revenue lending. They even work with some sources like LendCred. So they're kind of like Fundera, and they're kind of like Fundation, where they use multiple different, you can access multiple different kind of loans in one place. So they've got really good lines of credit, term loans, and even SBA loans we've got done through them. If you have a little bit better requirements, they're really good at helping you with lines of credit, term loans, and SBA, but not, and then if you don't, then they'll put you in a revenue lending kind of product. So Lendio is kind of like us, right? Lendio works with Lending Club and Kabbage and LendCred. They work with all these lenders, right? That's the beauty of working with us. We work with all these lenders, so we help you qualify with all of them in one place. Lendio is the only other source that works with as many lenders as what we've seen. Okay, and as many funding programs, I should say. On Deck, shorter term loans. These are 3 to 24 month loans. You got to have $100,000 a year in revenue. Boxtruck. Hey, who else offers no PG cards? I can only get Sam's Club. Everybody, every source, every retailer offers no PG. I mean, if you go to our group, Get Business Credit, you'll see people posting all the time. That's my advice. Go to our group, Get Business Credit. PNC Bank, Amex, every one of these cards is no PG. If you go to our Get Business Credit group, you'll see all kinds of people that are actually promoting and showing the actual cards they're getting approved with no PG as well. OnDeck is the biggest lender in the actual revenue space. You need revenue. A credit alone will not qualify you that. Yep, that's Facebook. If you go to Facebook and type in Get Business Credit, guys, it's the most popular mastermind group for building business credit that exists anywhere. I just looked at in the last 28 days, there's 19,700 engagements in that group. So it's well worth checking out. PayPal. Same kind of loan is on deck, revenue lending, but what they do is they lend you money based on PayPal deposits. Square is very, very, very similar. So for example, they've got one where they can come in and if you got 20,000 to 20 million in PayPal sales, they can get you a certain amount of money versus another. What you need to know about PayPal instead of looking through all of this is that if they are going to basically lend you a percentage of up to 30% of whatever you have going through PayPal. So even as a startup business, my advice to business owners is get set up with PayPal and get set up with Square and start running revenue through there. Because if you do that, then what's going to happen is that they'll lend you money a few months in, 3 to 6 months in. They'll lend you up to 30% of your annual sales with them. Square does exactly the same thing, and you get approved immediately and there's no credit check at all. So PayPal and Fundbox are the two options we've looked at so far with Square that will approve you for money with absolutely no credit check. They're basing your approval on how much you have going through your PayPal or Square account. They are approving you based on how much is going through your bank account. Corner Spot, short-term loans, 9 to 18 months, up to 150 grand, 100,000 a year in revenue, and 550 score. Much more lenient than some of these other ones that we've talked about. You just need to have at least a $2,000 a month bank account average to get approved. Rapid Advance. They do standard loans, 5,000 up to 1 million. Short terms, 4 to 12 months. Can you imagine paying back $1 million over a 4-month term? What? That's insane. I mean, your payments are $250,000 a month. So you can get up to $1 million, but shorter term financing. Okay, you need to have 120,000 a year revenue and 580 FICO score to be able to get approved. So this is based on revenue. Now, if you have a higher score, then they'll go and do a longer term, up to 18-month term based on credit. So a lot of other specifics, the specific rates and interest rates and all that, but I'm not going to go through all that with all these programs. So let's do a quick summary. Balboa, they are based on revenue. You don't need collateral. You don't need credit to get approved. Okay, but they want you to have at least $10,000 a month in revenue in 1 year time in business. Bluevine, great option because they can approve you with as little as a 600 FICO score for a line of credit. They use artificial intelligence. They plug into your bank account for an automated approval. If you have invoices or other people from business to business or business to government that owe you money, they've got a great plan to qualify for here too. And that, with invoice factoring, only needs a 530 score, which, by the way, might seem low. A lot of invoice factoring lenders don't even have any FICO score requirements, just so you know. Bond Street, they go up to $1 million, harder to qualify. They want you to be in business 2 years. They want you to have $200,000 in annual revenue. But if you have good revenue, they're the ones that you're going to go to get higher amounts of money, up to $1 million. Okay. Also, Rapid Advance here goes up to $1 million. So if you're looking for the 500 to $1 million range, then Rapid Advance is going to be your best choice, and so will Bond Street. Can Capital, same program, but much easier to get approved for because they only go up to 150 grand and have credit requirements in the 500, so much easier to get approved for the same kind of loan with them. Fundation, bunch of different kind of loans, term loans and line of credit basically. They're looking for scores of about 620 or higher. Okay, and if you do that, you can get a line of credit or a term loan up to 4 years. They offer multiple programs, so you can get multiple programs qualified for in one place. Fundbox, love them. Why? There's no FICO needed. There's no credit check. They use artificial intelligence like Bluevine. They offer invoice factoring and lines of credit, but their line of credit has no credit check, no inquiry. So if you have revenue, go to creditsuite.com/Fundbox. If you've been in business 3 to 6 months, you manage your bank account responsibly, there's no inquiry, so heck, why not? See what you can get approved for. Fundera, multiple different kind of funding programs, term loans, lines of credit, and invoice factoring. You need to be in business 1 year and a FICO score of 600 or higher. But if you have that, well, they can go up to 90% of the invoices you have. They can also do term loans, and they can do lines of credit all the way up to $500,000. Funding Circle, again, like Bond Street, a little bit more difficult to qualify for, higher credit score requirements. That do the same kind of loan as you're going to find here with Fundera, Bond Street, Can Capital, and Balboa. And they, like Lending Club, are tougher to qualify for. They want you to be in business 2 years, 620 FICO. So Lending Club, Funding Circle, same kind of loan, but probably better for a more qualified applicant. Cabbage, love them. They, like Bluevine, and like Fundbox use artificial intelligence for approval, so you get a really fast approval in about 10 minutes, and you only need $50,000 a year to get approved. They're one of the easiest lenders to get approved with, and so is Fundbox. This one and this one are two of my personal favorites. LendCred, they are different than every other source we've looked at and we'll look at today, and here's why. LendCred is only based on consumer credit quality. If you have a 680 or FICO, and even as a startup, they'll help you. None of these other sources will help you unless you've been in business at least 3 months. So if credit is your strength, LendCred is your lender. Lendio, many different kind of programs similar to us. We work with them too. Very, very happy with the results. They work with a lot of these lenders you see here. So then they offer the lines of credit, the term loans, the revenue lending, even SBA loans. So a good source like us to get a multiple different loans in one place. OnDeck, most popular lender out there that offers the same kind of program that Fundera, Bond Street, Can Capital, and Balboa and Foundation also offer. They use an automate right into your bank account as well. So they're using artificial intelligence, which typically means faster approval. PayPal, and I don't have them mentioned here, but Square Capital as well. Very unique. No credit check at all. Love them. PayPal, Square, and Fundbox will lend you money based on revenue with no credit check. And what they're going to typically do is give you up to about 30% of whatever you're depositing in PayPal sales, as long as you've been depositing money for 3 months. So if you haven't already, set up a PayPal account, set up a Square account, and start putting revenue through there. PayPal and Square are two of the easiest places to get approved for beyond Fundbox. So I recommend everybody have a PayPal and Square account, because if you ever need fast, easy money, you can get it up to about 30% of your annual revenue, which is insane. Most people that offer this, let's give you a comparison. OnDeck and PayPal offer the same program. The difference is OnDeck will look at all the revenue in your bank account. PayPal only looks at PayPal deposits. OnDeck will lend you up to 12% of your annual revenue typically. So will Fundera, so will Bond Street, so will Lendio, so will Bluevine. Most of these are up to about 12% of your annual revenue. That's 30%. It's more than double. So you're going to get a good deal here if you have good transactions going through PayPal. Quarter spot, short-term loans like many we've looked at, 9 to 18 months, okay, $100,000 a year in revenue. And we also look at Rapid Advance, very similar as well. So a lot of these lenders are very similar to each other. Rapid Advance, Quarter Spot, OnDeck, Fundera, Bond Street, Can Capital, Balboa, pretty much offer very similar programs. Bluevine is based on a line of credit and invoice factoring, exactly the same as Fundbox is, but Fundbox has no credit pull. PayPal and Square are very much the same as well, because they're only looking at PayPal or Square deposits. Square shut mine down due to high deposits. Mine range from $800 to $3,000 per month. It can happen. And Christine, unfortunately, my PayPal account got shut down too the minute I started pressing volume through there. We had it for years. We started actually processing deposits through there. They got freaked out and they shut it down. So that does happen. Organization has credit in the highs, 700s in business, 17 years, over 200,000 in revenue. So, again, Nora, we can help you. We have many options that can help you get the land. The best thing to do is just give us a call. We'll get you with Doug on our team, okay? And then Doug will actually talk to you about all the financing options you may qualify for. Here, let's see if Doug's available here. Let's see. Doug. Hey, say hey to Periscope.
What's up, Periscope?
All right, so she's wanting financing on land, $200,000 a month in revenue, 700 FICO scores. Can you help?
Of course I can.
Okay, so there we go. So that's Doug with a Superman shirt. You know he's got to be good because he's got a Superman shirt on today. Okay, so a lot of different options that we have here. So anyways, as I was saying, if you just give us a ring, I'll put you on with Doug, and then he can talk to you about all the financing options that can work. We probably aren't going to have a commercial land loan option because there's not a lot of those out there, but we have a bunch of the others that are out there. So hopefully you enjoyed this walkthrough of most of the major online lenders. Here's the lesson to learn. If you have revenue, Balboa, Bluevine, Bond Street, Can't, have your website, where can you find the lesson? You can go to Periscope and watch this in its entirety. If you go to Periscope, you can watch this in its entirety. Fundera, Lending Club, OnDeck, Lendio, work good if you have revenue. If you have good credit, you want to try and lend cred. We have some better options as well, so get in touch with us because we've got ones that'll go up to 150 versus 100,000. If you don't want a credit pull, Fundbox is great for you. So is PayPal, and so is Square, all of which are not going to put inquiries on your credit report. And again, if you want lenders that work with everybody or a bunch of different sources, Lendio does, Fundation does, we do, and Fundera does as well. Can you use the same DUNS number from an old company you use on a new company? You can only use a DUNS number on one.
And it can be the same, yes. So, don't know about you, but I'm tired. That was 45 minutes. So if you missed this, go back to Periscope. You can watch it in its entirety. If you have questions,
first, just give us a ring. We deal with every lender that's out there. We have over 1,000 lenders that we work with in every program that we talked about today. And you can also grab a free guide. A lot of you have business credit building questions at creditsuite.com/Periscope as well. So creditsuite.com/Periscope for your free guide. That's our phone number to give us a ring, and we can get you approved, and I'll get you right.
When it comes to funding, I'll get you on the phone with Doug. When it comes to business credit, I'll get you on the phone with our other guys that are out there as well. So if you have any questions, reach out to us, let us know. 877-600-2487. In the weeks to come, we'll be talking more about business credit, more about financing. Next week, we decode business credit. We're going to go to this whiteboard, which I haven't been to in a long time. And we're going to decode the whole business credit building process, so stay tuned. Thank you all very much for spending time with me today. Hopefully, you got a good walkthrough of the top online lenders to now know which one may work better for you than others. And again, if you have any questions, just give us a ring, 877-600-2487. I'll see you next Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern here on Periscope. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great day.